Hey there, I was going to try to do this in one of my 2-minute shop tips, but it cannot be done. Reading the grain. I have a piece of oak here where this is classic American oak. Me or anybody else that says, hey, read your grain here and then do thus and so. That sounds easy. I know it goofs me up a lot, so I'm assuming that it's not so easy. It sounds easy, and I may say it and make it sound easy, but it isn't easy. But you tell somebody to read the grain, what are you telling them to do? Well, if you take this piece of wood and plane it, and I can take a brief look at it and kind of see that it looks like it wants to go this way, so I start planing. Everything feels good. I'm taking a little light passes here. Planing off. This is glass smooth. I'm doing real good. I get to here, bam, I'm against the grain. I'm like, well, what happened? I was doing so good right here, and wow, I'm against the grain. And some way out here, I can kind of make it through. The more I get over to here, I've just basically ruined the piece. I'll darken this in, and I'll zoom in for you. Right through here, I was doing really good, and the more I went this way I was okay. I started to have some struggles through here. This even wasn't easy, so I'll shade in the areas that began to be a struggle, like this. So I was okay about right here. Right in here I was okay. Through here got questionable, began to get questionable, and then here all hell broke loose and went terrible on me. And what's going on there? Can't see from the top. You just lay it down, you plane, you take a test cut, it feels okay. You continue, you say you're with the grain. Well, look at this side. You can't really tell one way or the other. It's very difficult to tell. It looks straight grain. Here you kind of get the sense that you're going uphill. If I darken this in, that kind of feels uphill. So it feels a little bit like the grain is this way, but I knew I was doing good here, and this looks uphill here. So this doesn't really help you. Well, this side, I'm going to zoom in, and remember my problem area was here. It began out in here. It really went bad here. So let's see what's going on there. I'll zoom in. I've darkened in the grain, and I hope you can see this. I darkened in the lines of grain. You can see them here with the naked eye, real easy in the light that I have. They're coming along and they go uphill, 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 and they get to a spot in here somewhere, magic point, where they're at the top of the heap. And on the face of this board, you can kind of see that that spot is right here. Right here is the very uppermost top of the piece. And I can actually plane to about right here, where I'm cresting out at the top. There was a knot or something in the growth of the tree that led to that, bending those grain lines. And then from that point on, all hell breaks loose. I've chewed this all up through here, and it's because the grain's going the other way. I'm planing into end grain. I'm planing into the grain there. So, how can that be? Well, that's what happens in a lot of these grainy woods. I suppose nut trees, chestnut, walnut, ash. It's not a nut tree, but ash does it. It's grainy. Certainly hickory. I don't work much with elm. We don't have much of it left here. I would picture elm having it. There's probably other grainy woods that do it. Buckeye maybe, I don't know. But certainly our common American red oak, I've had so much of this lately because I've been working with it. And this is what all of us are trying to do when we pick up a piece of wood, is spot these problem areas where there's opposing grain. Here it's going uphill, and here it's going uphill, and we have a high spot here, and that high spot, it becomes the question mark, and we know that something's going to happen. Now if you flip the board over, here's your problem area, all hell breaks loose through here, and I can plane from this section onward. I could plane okay, and I could plane from about here onward and be okay, but through here is no man's land, and that's where you're better off just don't get your plane in there and use the number 80 cabinet scraper or good card scrapers and try to do the work you need to do. Sometimes you can go diagonally to the grain and maybe pull it off, and if you're starting with a rough sawn board and you have the time to get down to your thickness and you can analyze which angles work, sometimes you can discover angles that will work for you, and then you know as you get to your finished surface, you know which directions are safe to plane in. But it doesn't matter what kind of plane you have. I don't care if you got $400 low angle planes or whatever you got, it's not going to fix this problem, because planing is planing and grain is grain. And I don't know all that I want to know about it, but I know enough to tell you this is one of the things when people say read the grain, this is one of the things they're saying to look for. Something I know you need to look for to help you stop yourself before you get into something that you can't fix real easy, and you're going to end up having to sand the crap out of it to salvage the piece, and really don't want to get to that point if you can avoid it. So I hope this helps some people. It certainly helps me to dwell on it a little bit and think about it, and it's something for you to think about if you work with solid woods a lot, especially grainy woods. Thanks for watching. Hey there. I thought I'd do a quick follow-up to the video on reading grain. I had this piece of wood, had a disastrous tear out here. I was showing the rise and fall of the grain on this edge, which is the only place you can see it. Got the video done, and I got to thinking, it doesn't really help people if I don't also show how would you fix that. And I thought, gee, I don't know if I can fix it, but let's take a look at it. So I got out one of my homemade card scrapers and scraped it right up, and it's beautiful. I'm going to zoom in and we'll do the other side, and I'll show you how you don't necessarily have to sand the crap out of it if you have sharp, good card scrapers. So see if that maybe is good enough for you to see. Here was the rise, which meant I could plane to here, and then I needed to come from the other way. I could plane here. It got a little bit questionable up in here. So all I did, let me put my glasses on. All I did was start back here and scrape. This was one of my homemade scrapers you can see in one of my videos. I get to here, I can go off the edge. There's no problem with the scraper. And I can scrape to about right here, and I start to sense a little bit of tear out. So with the plane, I'd have to stop sooner, and I can't plane in here, had horrible tear out. With the scraper, I can encroach on that a little bit, but all I did was turn it around, and right in here, you could even do it in here a little bit, or this way. Scrape it clean, right here. I scraped it clean, like that, and the board is like new again. Let's do the other side, which I haven't touched. Here's a horrendous spot. dished out grain. That means I can scrape from here forward or plane, and I can scrape from here backwards. So let's do part of it first. This is that beveled scraper. I'll turn it down, let it really cut. You could do it with a number 80 cabinet scraper. Let me show you the difference it's already making. It's taking out all those pencil lines, starting to remove those rough spots. I said in the other video, you might have to sand the crap out of it. I don't know what I was saying because I wouldn't do that. I'd scrape it. Let me get my number 80 scraper. Okay, the bulk of the board is perfect. I'll work on this spot right here where I can bend the scraper and get down in there. No problem scraping back in here. I can start, I'm in the low right through here, but I'm heading out of the grain, so I'm safe. Let's try the cabinet scraper. There's one divot right here. Let's see what the plane will do, just out of curiosity. Now back to the scraper. Not really touching back here because it has a sole on it. I can't quite get in there, so I use the card scraper. Right there. That's pretty well removed. All those tear outs and divots. At the worst, I would have a little bit of a hollow through here that I'd have to gradually work that out, maybe plane from here out to flatten the surface again. Just to make sure there's no hollow there. See, that's nice and flat. There's no divot here. Now I need to flip around. I showed you right in here is what's remained. Needs to go that way. Let's try planing. That's working very nicely. Try the scraper. That's very nice. One little last divot there. Hard scraper. And there you are. The board is as good as new. Let me see if you're in frame. That board is basically good as new. So I hope that encourages you that if a goof up like me can fix that board, then you could too. Here was that depression in the grain, problem area. All that trouble is gone now. Flip it over. All this tear out and gouging, it's all gone. Here's the rise. And back to square one with that board. Is it flat? Well, no divots, no daylight. So I'm pleased that I could salvage that surface and move on with my rest of my work. So I hope that encourages some people to see that if you do have a problem and you're still learning, as we all are, to regrain, and wood is tricky, and you do have a goof up, don't all is not lost. Don't worry, you probably can fix it. Thanks for watching.